I want to commend each of you for the work that you do with Meals on Wheels. And because of your providing nourishing meals, you're preventing malnutrition in frail elders and dependent adults. And you are therefore allowing them to remain home independently longer than they would otherwise. So I realize that you are volunteers, and therefore I take the premise that you have a real care for each of your clients, and I commend you for that. Another point that your visit accomplishes is a social contact for these people, and many of them are isolated from the community. You may be the only person that they see on a daily basis. So right there, that is fulfilling a great need. What is elder abuse? There are several forms: physical abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, self-neglect, abandonment, and also emotional and psychological abuse. And more than one form of abuse may be occurring at the same time. The perpetrator of elder abuse is often someone that is trusted by the senior. Could be a family member, a caregiver, someone in a fiduciary position, have monetary relations with the senior. Going into more detail on each type, physical abuse includes anything which gives injury or pain to the senior. Hitting, slapping, burning, shoving, anything that causes harm to the senior in a physical way. This would also include forcible restraint. Sexual abuse is any non-consensual sexual contact of a senior. And also sexual contact of someone who is unable to give consent, perhaps they have mental problems. Neglect and self-neglect is the failure of a caregiver or the inability of the caregiver to give proper assistance to the senior. Whether this is intentional or unintentional, it still is harmful. So it is neglect. Self-neglect would be if the senior cannot take care of himself or herself. Perhaps they're too frail or have medical problems that are interfering with their ability to take care of themselves, or extreme depression. There may be many reasons why. And self-neglect includes hoarding behavior, where lots of things are piled up in the home, sometimes also in the car, which leads to filth, its inability to keep the house clean for one thing, and all sorts of fire danger, fire hazards for the people living in that home. Psychological, emotional abuse is any behavior toward a senior that is insulting, demeaning, threatening, belittling behavior, belittling language toward a senior. This would all cause emotional and psychological distress and mental distress. Financial exploitation is any misuse of personal belongings of the senior, or illegal or improper use of his resources. That would include identity theft, stealing of credit cards, misuse of a power of attorney. And it is interesting to note that scammers tend to target older adults because in this country about 70% of the wealth is held by seniors. So in your handouts you will notice a yellow piece of paper. This is a copy of the Elder Abuse Recognition Tool. A laminated form of this is now in your route book, and it can be found in the inside left cover. I would like you to glance at it every day when you go out on your routes These are some signs that you might notice when you are out and about. And if you do, I would like you to tell your site manager about these situations. So if you notice going down, it says elder abuse hurts. And then there's a phrase horizontally that goes with it. These are not all the signs of elder abuse, because in your brief encounters with seniors on a daily basis, you wouldn't see certain things like bed sores or, but these things you could notice. E, extremely withdrawn behavior. L, lots of mail piled up. D, demented person left unsupervised. E, elder appears or acts fearful. R, restriction of or isolation of the elder by a caregiver. A, any injury incompatible with explanations. B, bruises, burn marks. Caution on the bruises. Seniors do bruise very easily, so not every bruise means that it's elder abuse or neglect. But if you notice a handprint mark, this is a suspicious kind of bruise. If you notice bruises on more than one plane of the body at the same time, and the senior says, I just tripped and fell, well, you only fall and hit in one direction. So this is suspicious. U, unclean and lack of grooming. This could be a sign of neglect or self-neglect. S, scratches, sores. E, extreme depression, crying. H, hoarding. U, uncombed, matted hair. R, ripped or bloody clothing. T, threatening of a senior. S, smells badly, the senior or the home. This could be a sign of neglect or self-neglect, or it could be a medical problem. So again, I wanted to emphasize the Meals on Wheels reporting procedure. So if you notice signs such as this, you need to talk to your site manager right away. And together you will decide if this is a situation that requires calling Adult Protective Services, APS, or the police department, 911, if you think that there is criminal activity or if the senior is in imminent danger. Other signs of abuse could be the senior appears overly medicated or sedated, unusual weight loss, lack of food, heat, or electricity in the home, a malnourished or mistreated pet. Signs of financial exploitation. First, let me say that financial exploitation is on the rise. There's an estimate that $2.6 billion a year are lost by seniors, and that was an estimate in 2009 done by Metropolitan Life. So signs that you might see, the elder could talk to you about how stressed out they are about finances. You could see eviction notices piled up. You could notice that perhaps the person could no longer afford to pay for their Meals on Wheels meals, which are very affordable. You could see piles of bills. If you notice things such as the caregiver's refusal to spend money on the elder, or a caregiver's refusal to attend or assist to an elder, these are also signs. If the elder is suddenly giving gifts, very valuable gifts to the caregiver, this could be a sign as well. And another sign that the elder might mention is if all of a sudden his personal belongings are missing, jewelry, credit cards, bank statement, checkbook, something of that nature. Signs in a suspected abuser or caregiver include implausible or implausible stories to explain injuries in a victim. So if the caregiver is trying to explain how this fall happened of this elder, and it doesn't make sense to you, that's possibly a sign. If the caregiver doesn't allow the senior to speak. I've even heard where a caregiver, in order to isolate a senior, took the batteries out of the hearing aid. If you notice handling, if the caregiver is handling the senior in a rough manner or speaking to him angrily or in an insulting manner. If the caregiver appears drunk or under the influence of drugs, that would be a problem. If the caregiver appears to have a resentment toward the senior, that is also a sign. So in summary, I want to emphasize to you that because you see seniors on a daily basis, on a regular basis anyway, you don't come every single day, but you come on a consistent basis, you have more of a chance of noting changes in that senior. And you are in a prime position to be that person that might save the senior's life, or improve their condition, their quality of life. So I want to also emphasize that you don't have to prove that elder abuse and neglect is occurring. When you report to Adult Protective Services or to the police, they will send out professionals to do the assessment, and you can feel some relief that you've helped the situation. So I just wanted to, again, thank you for coming to our seminar, and keep your eyes open. And I wanted to empower you to take action if you see something that is suspicious. Thank you very much.